Please divorce your husband. Upon discovering I was pregnant and visiting the op/GYN with my husband, a nurse pulled me aside when we were alone. "Excuse me. Why are you telling me this? Your husband is..." What the nurse began to tell me was a shocking truth I had never anticipated. My name is Erica Johnson. I'm a 30-year-old office worker. I met my husband, Sam, who's 2 years older than me at work, and we got married 7 years ago. We currently live together with our 5-year-old daughter, Megan. However, for about the last 3 years, our marital relationship hasn't been the best. The root of our issues began with choosing a preschool for Megan. Sam and I had differing opinions, and we clashed a bit over it. He was keen on a preschool with a marching band since he wanted Megan to learn an instrument. But after visiting several schools, I recommended the one where Megan seemed to have the most fun during a trial session. I want Megan to develop her sensitivity from a young age. It's Megan who'll be attending the preschool, right? I think the most important thing is that the child enjoys it. She might end up enjoying it when she starts attending, you know. But not many kids from that preschool go on to the same elementary school. Have you thought about that? Enough. She's going to the preschool I chose. End of discussion. Without having a proper conversation, we ended up sending Megan to the preschool my husband preferred. But the challenges really began after she started. There were no male teachers at her preschool, and they often asked fathers for help with various school events and activities, labeling them as the dad's club. At first, he said, helping out once in a while isn't a big deal, but he seemed to grow tired of it after participating in just 2 monthly events. Going to the preschool on his day off became a hassle for my husband, and he grew increasingly reluctant. Megan seems sad when her dad isn't at the events. Maybe you could show up once in a while. Really? What a pain. They're always looking for help at every event. I'm not saying every month, but joining occasionally would make Megan happy. All right, I'll join next time. Despite his words, he never took part in any of the preschool activities. Eventually, just mentioning the preschool made him visibly upset. And to this day, he hasn't seen Megan in her marching band uniform, something he once eagerly wished for. My daughter mainly saw her dad lounging around on his days off, saying, "Daddy just sleeps at home all the time." Lately, he'd been coming home late at night more often, and many times when he tried to speak to me, he'd lose his train of thought. However, aside from preschool matters, we still talked quite a bit, and when he felt like it, we had our intimate moments. So, I believed our relationship could still be mended. For the past few days, I'd been feeling off, with nausea reminiscent of an upset stomach and symptoms like a cold. At first, I thought I was just under the weather, but it was unusual for me to feel this way for so many days in a row. On a whim, I bought a pregnancy test from the drugstore. At home, the result was positive. I wasn't completely taken aback, and I was genuinely overjoyed that a new life was growing inside me. When my husband came home, I shared the news that we were expecting our second child. However, my husband's reaction wasn't what I had anticipated. He seemed troubled. "Are you sure you're pregnant? Could there be a mistake? I've only taken an over-the-counter test, so it's not confirmed yet, but I'm pretty sure I am." "Well, seriously. What? Is there a reason you can't be happy about my pregnancy?" "No, it's not that. Is it about the age gap with Megan? It'll be a 6-year difference, which means a longer parenting period, and their school years might overlap." "It's not about that. Then what? If you have concerns, I'd like you to share them with me." "No, let's set my issues aside for now. Should we go to the hospital to make sure you're truly pregnant?" "Yes, we should get a checkup first. I'll take some time off next week and go." "I'll come with you. I'm worried, and if the hospital is busy and it's time for Megan to get off from preschool, I can pick her up." "That sounds good." Following my husband's suggestion, I booked an appointment at the same hospital where I gave birth to our daughter 5 years ago. I felt at ease thinking that if it's the same doctor who looked after me then, I can trust them with my upcoming delivery. After dropping our daughter off at preschool, we headed to the op/GYN clinic together. The waiting room was as crowded as it was 5 years ago. It might take a while, Seems like it. While waiting for our consultation after completing all the routine tests and chatting with my husband, a young nurse approached us. "Mrs. Wilson, do you have a moment?" "Yes." "So it's finally time for the consultation. I can come in with her, right?" "No, it's just for the lady first." As I tried to stop my husband from getting up, the nurse led only me to the consultation room. The nurse was a young woman, probably in her early 20s. She likely wasn't here when I gave birth to our daughter 5 years ago. Once in the consultation room and seated facing each other, the nurse seemed somewhat bewildered. Seeing her like that, I began to worry. Had something gone wrong with the tests? Is it about the test results?" "No, it's not that. I just wanted to talk for a moment." "What is it?" The man earlier, he's your husband, right?" She seemed relieved to have finally said it. "Yes, he's my husband." "Why?" "So, by husband, you mean you're married to him?" "Of course." "That man's name is Osamu Ikeda, correct?" "Yes." The nurse kept asking about my husband. "What's going on with my husband?" "There's just something I'm a bit concerned about." "Well, I gave birth to my daughter in this hospital 5 years ago." "You can ask the nurse at the reception, Miss Jennifer Smith. She might remember my husband." Feeling as though I was being probed, I spoke with poorly concealed irritation. Yet, the nurse, seeming even more irate than I, began to speak with a firmer tone. "I understand that what I'm about to say might be unprofessional, but there's something you really need to know." "You think there's something I need to know?" "Divorce that man immediately." "What? Why do I have to be told something like that from you?" "I'm sorry, but I really think it's best if you divorce him." "Do you even realize what you're saying?" "I do, but I can't keep silent thinking about you and your children." "Hold on a second. Can you calm down and explain everything step by step?" "Okay. I used to work at another OP/GYN clinic in the county just a month ago. Here's the nurse's story. At that clinic, there was a couple. Well, technically they weren't legally married, so I should say partners. The man, your husband, was there as the father during the childbirth. His name is Sam Ikeda. I was surprised to see a man with the same name, age, and build come into the hospital again, but with a different woman. When I met him a month ago, he said it was their first child. Yet, in the delivery room, he expertly supported the pregnant woman by massaging her back, offering her drinks with a straw, and easing her pain. I thought, some people are just naturally good at this. But what really stuck with me was how devoted he was, even though he mentioned they weren't legally married yet. So you wanted to talk to me because of that?" "Yes." I couldn't believe he could be someone else with the same name and looks. "In the waiting room, you two looked every bit the married couple. But why was the woman from before not you? Why did you suggest I divorce him? I can't stand men who play nice with both their wife and their affair. Personally, my fiancé cheated on me and we called off our wedding. So I have a strong aversion to cheating men." "That must have been tough for you, wasn't it?" "No. Even if I couldn't pretend not to know, considering you're pregnant and entering such an important phase, I appreciate you talking to me about it. But it's something I never saw coming. I may have said more than I should have. It was for you to decide. I'm sorry." With that, the nurse bowed her head several times and left the room. After talking to the nurse, I must have looked quite upset because my husband gently asked, "Are you okay?" But even that felt irritating. After our appointment, we went to pick up our daughter from preschool and then headed home. It seems like my morning sickness is worse this time. With Meg's situation too, maybe I should stay at my parents' for a bit. "Right, I'll manage on my own, so go ahead." "Well, if you think it's best, then I'll do it." The next day, I packed our bags and decided to head back to my parents' house with our daughter. I then contacted a private investigator I know to look into the woman's background. The nurse's account isn't solid proof of my husband's affair. Besides, I needed to find out more about her too. Taking advantage of my absence, my husband quickly started staying over at the woman's house. So, in just the 2 weeks since I hired the investigator, I gathered ample evidence of his infidelity. 3 weeks later, I, along with my lawyer, headed to the apartment where my husband and the woman were living. The look on my husband and his lover's faces was one of shock when they saw me. The woman was 22. At first, I thought she was deceived by a man 10 years her senior, but it seems she knew he was married. I do feel bad for the wife, but can't help who you fall in love with, right? It wouldn't be an issue if he were single, though. What the hell are you doing here? You think I'd bring a lawyer just to see a baby's face? When I, exasperated, explained I was here to discuss the divorce, my husband seemed relieved, while the woman, holding the sleeping baby, smirked triumphantly. I never thought you'd bring it up, but I'm glad. Glad? What do you mean? I've been wanting to tell you I wanted a divorce, but couldn't find the words. How long has always been? Since when? I might as well be honest now. I've been with her for 2 years, and she gave birth a couple of months ago. I wanted to divorce before the baby came and marry her, but seeing your face, I just couldn't say it. So you've been seeing her for 2 years. I see. And you chose her over me. You have a full-time job, and your folks are well off. You've got Jenny too, so you won't be lonely without me. But she only has me. And I wanted to get married quickly after the baby, but then you said you were pregnant, and I didn't know what to do. It's not like I got pregnant by myself. Well, yeah, that's my bad. What a thing to say. By the way, since my kid is only about 2 months old, you'll reduce the alimony, right? Why should I have to reduce the alimony? You're the one who wanted the divorce. How about no alimony, and we just split the savings in half and call it even? Both my lawyer and I exchanged glances at his naive remark. How clueless can you be? I have Jenny and the baby on the way. You know, do you think just paying alimony will settle it? So you had a baby. That has nothing to do with me, but her child will be siblings with Jenny and the one on the way, right? Don't you feel sorry for them? Why should I be tormented with such guilt? Guilt. All of this is a result of you running from responsibility and constantly procrastinating. Isn't it? The baby sleeping there has to be registered without a father's name. And even my pregnancy is the result of your recklessness. I won't reduce the amount at all. Of course, I'll be claiming alimony from you, the other woman. You'll be held accountable for breaking up a family. That's harsh, isn't it? You think I'm being harsh. The cruelest ones here are my husband and you, who had an affair with a married man and even had his child. While your child might live with its father, my children will lose theirs. I hope you both get to experience the life you've set up for them firsthand. Jennifer, let's talk this through a bit more. There's nothing left to discuss. From now on, please communicate through my lawyer. Afterwards, I claimed $35,000 in alimony from my husband, along with child support of $600 monthly for our 2 children for 20 years, totaling around $190,000, which he paid in full. I opted for a lump sum because, knowing his tendency to procrastinate, monthly payments might be delayed. From the woman, who had an affair with a married man and even had his child, I claimed $30,000. She mentioned she had no savings and wanted to pay in installments. But when I suggested, don't we both want to cut ties as soon as possible, she seemed to borrow the money from somewhere. To pay off the hefty amount of around $200,000, my husband had to sell off all his assets. Even though he's not treated well at work, he continues to work because he can't afford to quit. But knowing his personality, I wonder if he's thinking of retiring soon. If that happens, she'll likely struggle even more, but that's the bed they've made for themselves. If she fell in love with such a procrastinating and irresponsible man, she must be willing to face the challenges. As a mother, I hope she pulls through. Currently, while nurturing the life inside me, I'm living with my daughter. Upon learning the baby in my belly is a girl, my daughter eagerly talks to her daily, saying, "Come out soon," and is excited about naming her little sister herself. You know, you shouldn't grow up to be someone who's always sleeping like your dad, okay? Every time I see her taking on the role of the big sister, I hope that my unborn child grows up taking her father as a cautionary tale, just like her sister does. I can't wait for the day when the three of us can live together as a family.